Hello friends. In last video of testing and evolution process safety management, we have seen the basic concept that is related with the process safety management. In this video, we are going to learn the components those are related with process safety management. Myself, Mr. S.P. Udgave, Department of Mechanical Engineering, working as an assistant professor in Sharad Institute of Technology, College of Engineering, EDRA. So these are the components of process safety management. Already we have seen these components, but the list is given with the process safety information and process hazard analysis, operating procedures, employee participation, training, contractors, pre-start safety review, mechanical integrity, hot work permit, management of change, incident investigation, emergency planning and response, and compliance audit. So we are going to learn briefly one by one these components in process safety management. Now, first one is the employee participation. Employees must consult with the employees and their reps on the development of the elements of processes safety management. Employers shall provide employee access to all information required by the process safety management standard, and employer shall provide or develop a written plan regarding the implementation of employee participation in process safety management. So with concern with the employers and employee, both know the importance of process safety management, and the details description and the plan related with the safety management, it is given to the all the employees through the employers. That is the basic need of every industry to avoid the hazard and accident. Hot work permits, most of the industry they require to take the permission for the hot work permit that is issued from the hot work operation conducted on or near covered process, and must document work details including the compliance with the fire prevention and protection requirements. The permit must be kept on fire until completion of the hot work. Hot work. The operating procedures for the task and procedures related to the covered with process must be appropriate, clear, and consistent with the most importantly well communicated to the employees. Steps for each operating phase, that is the initial startup and normal operations, temporary operations, emergency shutdown, emergency operations, normal shutdown, and startup, the following term around the after the emergency shutdown. So every employee should know the operating procedure, that is categorized depends on the industry to industry. Self work practice, the employer must develop and implement the safe work practice to provide for control of hazards during work activities such as lockout and tagout, confined space entry, and opening process equipment or piping. And last one, assess control over entrance into a facility by maintenance, contractor, laboratory, or support personnel. These safe work practices must equally apply both employee and to the contractor employees. Training. So each and every industry should provide training to the employees. So initial training or refresher training, and training documentation is important for safety and the rules regulation that is provided with the government norms. So this slide shows the fire safety checklist for the workplace with the different 9 categories. That is the first one with the does your property have clear accessible for escape routes provided in industry. Second, is firefighting equipment available throughout the entire property, means that is a 4 floors, so each floor will be supplied with the firefighting equipment. And the third, that is a have the fully working regularity tested fire alarm for each building or each block, different alarm that is fitted and that will use the regulatory tested fire alarm, so that at emergency they will escape out from the block. Fourth one, have a setup of fire precautions that is advertised for the employees and provided to each and every employee at the time of training. And how to use the firefighting equipment. You use firefighting equipment that is a staff regularly, that is a trained in fire safety matters. Sixth one, that is a staff taken into consideration in evacuation plans. For safety evacuation plan, it is ready to escape out path, the shows the path, and everybody know that path with different staircase and the different paths with the arrow is shown to escape out from the building. So particularly in chemical industries, they avoid to sanction areas for smokers on their premises, and the fire extinguishers are regularly maintained and serviced and replaced for regular basis. And finally, the electrical system appliances maintained and checked regularly, that is a monthly checking and maintenance it is done. So these are the fire safety checklists for the workplace, and that are vary depends on the industry to industry, because each industry it is having the separate knobs and their escape paths depends on the floor area consumption and their shop floor plan. They can use the different fire safety checklist. Training, initial training in the process overview, process and the operation procedures. Safety and health hazards, it is a given instructions to all, and emergency operation and shutdown. Safe work practices applicable to employees' tasks. Refresher training at least every 3 years, and documentation of training must be state the means by which the training was shown to be effective. Pre-startup safety review prior to the introduction of the highly hazardous chemicals to process. The pre-startup safety review must confirm that the following: the construction and equipment are in accordance with the design specification, safety operating maintenance and emergency procedures are placed and are adequate, a process hazard analysis has been performed for near facilities and recommendation have been resolved or implemented before startup, and modified facilities to meet the management of change requirements. And finally, training of each employee involved operating process has been completed. Mechanical integrity related with the pressure vessels and storage tanks, pipe systems, that is a piping including piping components such as valves, relief and vent system and devices. Not only the fire hazard, that is a different hazards with the storage tanks and the numbers of walls are used in piping industries. So initially the proper training is given to each and every employee to how to handle the walls and emergency shutdown systems to how to operate or how to close the how to shut down at emergency position. Controls including monitoring devices and sensors, alarms, interlocks, and pumps. So each and every industry they are using the numbers of walls, sensors, alarms to control the hazard and incidents. So mechanical integrity it is also required with electrical, so that sensor will be sense and gives the alarm for safety related with the walls, fire, and other that is a hazardous positions. Trade secrets. Until recently, some companies attempted to protect proprietary information by keeping process detail from their employees. To prevent this scenario and enhance worker safety, the trade secret element gives employee the right now processes that may affect either health and safety. Each and every industry having their trade secrets, they can provide or proprietary information it is given or keeping to process details to their employees for this process it is they know before there is the effect on their health and safety. Contractors, contract employers must train their employees to safety perform their jobs and ensure that they are instructed in the known potential fire, explosion, or toxic release hazards related to their work. Contractor should maintain the contract employee during injury and illness log that is related to the contractor work in process area. Management of changes. These written procedures must be ensure the technical basis for that is a proposed change and impact of change on employee safety and health. Modification to operating procedures and necessary time period for change and authorized requirement proposed change related with the management change. Incident investigation, incident, accident and near miss correction and corrective action, preventive action. Use of problem solving technique are initially known to each and every employee that is provided by the employer. Emergency planning and response. For that, the identification of possible emergency situations and emergency preparedness plan. Training of people and practices are necessary for emergency planning and response. Compliance report. Establish a process of evaluated compliance with the provision of the PSM, process safety management planning, that is a planned and conducted at regular intervals, conducted by the trained and competent auditors knowledgeable in their process, documented process and management attention, have action of findings, operating procedures. So written operating procedures for safety conducting activities in each covered process. They should cover the initial startup, normal, temporary, emergency operations and shutdowns. Also, they know the operating limits and consequences of deviation and steps required to correct. And finally, safety and health consideration related with the hazards of chemicals, unique hazards, and metal control with different engineering controls and administrative controls with the safety system and their functions. Benefits of the process safety. First, that is a proactive management system. Safe the workplace for employees, safer workplace for employees, reduce the risk and compliance with industry codes, standards, and practices, reduces the downtime and losses, reduces the risk to nearby communities, and continual improvement. These are the benefits of PSM. International international disasters the that have defined a need for process safety management regulation. So different countries they have given rules, regulation, and disasters, but these are the some that is the disasters occurs in India at 1984. Gas leakage occurs in industry, and that is one of the disaster happen in our country. So same like they are given risk management. The risk management is a prioritization process in which the risk with the greatest loss and the greatest probability of occurring are given first priority, and risk with the lower probability of occurrence and lower loss are given lower priorities evidence. With the occurring mishaps that is showing the assessing overall risk can be difficult. Typical risk management, that is the steps are identify and characterize the process hazards. Second, to assess the risk procedure and critical asset for the specific hazards. Third step, to determine the risk, that is the assess to expected likelihood uh, and the consequences, and identify the controls and resources to reduce those risks. And last one is the priorities to risk, that is the mitigation and measures based on the defined criteria. Operational safety and process safety. In this, we can that is related with the oil and gas process operation hazardous type can be approached two ways: process upset hazards and person safety hazards. These are the process upset hazards are the hazards that are inherent to the process as they are always present but contained within a process boundary, pressure and temperatures. And second, safety hazards are these are related with the practice hazards and they are suitable stabilizes the procedures to safety handles and manipulate the hazard, occupational hazard, and safe work practices with the confined space entry. So these are the related with the components of the process safety management. Stay connected for the next videos. Thank you.